As of the 23rd of October, 2023, I'm stationed way out in the northeast Siberian Tundra. We've got these little caravan-type things to live in for the couple of weeks we're staying. Why I'm out here? Work. No other reason to be out this far. Not for anyone. Thus, it came as a shock finding a dead body all the way out in the literal middle of nowhere. Hundreds of miles from civilization. I see no feasible explanation as to how this man got out here. I'm part of a team assigned to a geological survey. Simply put, I'm here to analyze soil. Yeah, exhilarating. Anyway, that's beside the point. I'm not here to detail my scintillating career. I found the body on the second day, on a slope out westwards. The cold had set him into a statue, inevitably, but it looked like he'd died crawling on all fours. Something seemed off about the way he was posed, which I quickly realised was due to him resting on 2 legs and 1 arm. The corpse still had all its limbs. It's just that the left arm was pulled up into the chest, and the hand attached was clasped tightly around a book. A journal, to be exact. Naturally, I read a fair few pages before having the idea to write this. Writing's not something I frequent, and it doesn't come easy to me, so you'll forgive me if my tone leans towards being clinical. I'm a dirt analyst. Give me a break. Anyway, I thought the journal might shed some light on how this guy wound up all the way out here in this barren place. That said, its contents are strange to say the least, and I'm no closer to an answer as I was when I first discovered the body. I don't know what to make of the journal's contents, but I'm hoping this is just a sick joke, or some monumental misunderstanding. The way it's written seems literary in nature, although as I found out later on, there may be a good reason for that. I'm going to transcribe the first few pages below. I'll start with the only page with a bookmark. That is, if you could call an old shred of fabric a bookmark. Anyway, here it is. Do you think we're dead? I gave Eleanor a perplexed look. I can see your breath, and we're talking right now, so... No, she muttered, shivering in the keening wind. Not here. No sense in asking that here. I mean, out there. I stared out past the dark sea, reaching to the horizon, and likely further still than I could ever conceive of. They say hell is hot. As I sit on the ramshackle heights we fight every day to maintain, the cold clawing at my skin, I truly wish it was. My mother used to say, as long as you tried. Those 5 words hammered strength into my psyche. They once gave meaning in battling hardships and misery. Now, that's a dangerous epithet. You're free to try if so inclined. Just know that none of us will even try to save you when your belly's sliced open and your guts slurped by the creatures that dog this place. We've had our fill of brazen souls out here. They serve to be torn apart in our place. I suppose it's something to be grateful for. The braver you are, the quicker you'll learn. Bravery is as insubstantial as death in this place. I should backtrack. I am an extremophile. Always have been. After the first time that adrenaline rush flooded my veins, I was hooked. Water sports, base jumping, spelunking, anything you can name is likely under my belt. The one activity I'd found myself coming back to is mountaineering. Ever since my dad took me up Mount Snowdon, there's been an inscrutable urge to summit something higher, something steeper and harsher. This leads me to my most recent trip, summiting Monte Rosa's tallest peak, the Dufour Spitze. My climbing partner and good friend Rob climbed it in 2018. He shared plans of a second summit, so I took him up on the offer. I say climbing partner, but with my level skill I really mean guide. Rob's expertise blows mine out of the water. Nothing much of interest happened on the drive. Long, boring, standard overall. When we arrived, the parking lot, serving as our starting point, was empty and quiet. Dead still. There was an air of unease lingering around us. Around me at least. If Rob felt it, he didn't show it. But it was there, and I should have taken it as a warning. That's retrospection for you. Looking up at Monte Rosa made everything seem so insignificant. Its monster of a rock face stood mighty and gazed out across the landscape, ants beholden to a molehill in its dominance. God help any who climbs it. Instead, we planned around the Marinelli Couloir, a steep and snow-laden gully. We triple-checked our mandatory gear, ice picks, crampons, topes, etc. All present. Clear and cold mornings were forecast, perfect climbing conditions. Rob's meticulous planning was impressive, to say the least. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little envious. The mountain hut alone was a 4-hour climb, though the terrain was forgiving. Hard-packed snow crackled below my crampons, a reassuring sound. Inside was cosy. The walls were insulated well, and the wood stove was stocked, with more than enough firewood. Yet, even as the fire roared, a chill crawled up my back. Just like the parking lot, we were alone, and a nagging intuition in the back of my mind said that may not be coincidental. "Sure you're ready for tomorrow, mate?" Rob said, glancing over at me from the counter. "Why, I mean, yeah. Yep, I'm in good hands coming with you. Look, once we're up in the couloir, we aren't turning back, so there's no shame in having second thoughts." "No, it's not that, I mean, yeah, I could come back another time, but who knows how long I'd have to wait. Life's hectic, you know. Might be years past till I can try again." "Just making sure. Nerves are a dangerous beast up there. Long as you listen to me, you'll be fine. But remember, don't panic. If you're feeling anxious, remind yourself that getting upset won't help your situation." Heat from the waning coals coddled my body. Only embers flickered by the time I began to nod off into a deep, dreamless sleep. We set off at 8 a.m. after having oatmeal and berries. The first few hours ended up being a tough yomp, along the snowfield, skirting round towards the couloir. Azure sky gazed down through wispy, high cirrus. We were about a mile from the gully when light snowfall started up. It wasn't hugely surprising, being on a mountain and all, but the sky remained clear. If anything, it had grown clearer over the past hour, and still the snow fell regardless. It was such a bizarre sight, I worried I might be getting altitude sickness. As icy pinpricks pelted my skin, the reality of the situation dawned on me. Visibility was dropping by the minute, and within 10, I could scarcely see Rob 20 feet ahead. And then, he was gone. I don't mean his silhouette blurred away into the whiteout. I mean even his footprints were entirely covered over. I called out to him in a panic, cupping my hands together in a futile attempt to pierce the howling gale. Hoping to catch sight of Rob, I plodded forward another 100 or so yards. Nothing. My next actions I still ruminate over today, forcing me to curse my own cowardice. Even if I was the one who disappeared, I didn't know that at the time. Without Rob to guide me, I thought I was surely going to die. So, I turned back. Following the compass, I made a steady descent, hoping to get back to the hut faster than we'd come up. The fresh dusting of snow made frantic steps, a danger, and I slipped several times. After an hour, my view was unchanged. Pure whiteness. In my retreat, I'd somehow failed to notice a crucial detail. I wasn't going downhill. It seemed like I was in a flat snowfield, but when I turned a full 360 to get my bearings, I found I was actually facing a gentle incline. A fresh wave of terror crashed down in my mind. I glanced down at the compass, and to my horror, saw its needle replaced by a listless, spinning blur. I tried my best. Mum would have been proud. But the cold wore me down, the snow merciless as it pelted me. My footsteps grew closer and closer together, until there were no footsteps at all. I crouched on one knee. I wasn't shivering anymore. Well, I did feel pretty warm. Hot, actually. I went to unzip my coat when a stark patch of lime caught my attention. An abandoned tent, long left to endure the elements. It looked old. My dulling mind didn't catch the oddity, that it wasn't already buried in snow. Our tent was in Rob's park, and with him out of the picture, this was my only chance at survival. There were a few small tears in the canvas, but the tent sufficed in its primary purpose. Still, I had no means of warming myself up. Bundled tight in my sleeping bag, I felt the weight of exhaustion settle, and no sooner did my eyelids droop and my eyes roll back. The fact I awoke at all filled me with a sense of relief. Brain still groggy, I sat up and observed the tent's interior. It had fared well with the figurative flashbang of a snowstorm. Something was different. The small tears only looked out onto white, but all was quiet. Never has there been a silent blizzard. Only when a cold shock hit my foot did I notice the mounds of melting slush on the floor, directly beneath each rip in the tent. I was snowed in. Adrenaline flooded my veins and sent my thoughts into hyperspeed. How long had I been buried? How much oxygen was left in the tent? How deep was I? Don't panic. Freaking out won't help. I took a deep, controlled breath and crawled over to the zipper, hesitating before tugging it open in one swift motion. White fluff poured into the tent, and in a transitory state, between dread and understanding, I scrambled backwards in fear of an icy casket. My mind cleared. Logically, if the snow was that powdery, I couldn't be down very deep. Still, the tent sagged, its backbone long since snapped. I dragged myself out and pushed my way through the dampening snow, lugging the pack with all my equipment behind me. With the gap collapsing in on itself behind me, I planted my boots in the snow and stood. I wasn't on Monte Rosa. I wasn't in the Alps. I wasn't even on a mountain at all. That's as much as I feel like transcribing tonight. My schedule's not what you'd call leisurely, and I need to rest up for all the hiking I've lined up. I'll post the next section soon, when I have some time alone with my laptop. Until then, stay safe, and well away from the cold.